Go 1.22 has finally dropped, and with it we have a bunch of new and exciting changes. This release marks a huge milestone for Go, bringing about a new future for the language. The first category of improvements that this release brings is for looping in Go, with the major one being a fundamental change to the way that loop variables are scoped. I have another video that goes into this change in greater detail, but to summarize, it changes the loop variable to be per iteration scoped rather than scoped to the entire loop. By doing so, it fixes one of the most common mistakes you can make in Go. As well as this change, 1.22 also brings the ability to range over an integer. We can do this using the following code, which will iterate from 0 to 9. The last change to loops that this release brings is a new experimental feature for ranging over function iterators. This feature is similar to generator functions in other languages, allowing us to use the yield keyword to turn a function into an iterator. The second category of improvements that the 1.22 release brings is improvements to both CPU and memory performance. The runtime now keeps type-based garbage collection metadata nearer to each heap object, which improves the CPU performance of Go applications by 1 to 3%. Additionally, this change also reduces the memory overhead of the majority of Go programs by approximately 1% by deduplicating redundant metadata. The nice part about this improvement is that it's mostly provided for free, without any intervention on your end. There is a consequence of this change that's going to affect programs that use assembly instructions that expect memory addresses to be in a certain alignment. However, the developers expect this to be a rare occurrence. As well as improving the runtime performance, the compiler now can use Profile Guided Optimization, or PGO, in order to see an improvement between 2 and 14%. PGO, however, doesn't come for free, and requires you to profile your application whilst it's running in production. If that's something you want to know more about, then let me know in the comments down below, and I'll do a video on it. Go 1.22 brings about a number of changes to the standard library that will define the future of the language. The most significant of these changes is the first ever v2 package inside of the standard library. This is the math/rand/v2 package, which brings about a number of important changes. These changes include faster algorithms, improved interfaces, idiomatic naming of methods and functions, and a new generic function called n, which will take any integer type to create a random from. Because this method is generic, it allows us to easily create random numbers for types that we weren't able to do so before, such as generating a random time.duration. As well as our first ever versioned package, we also have a brand new package called go/version. This package is used to both validate and compare Go version strings. As well as these changes, there's been a number of minor ones added to various different packages throughout the standard library. Of this list, the one package I think most interesting is the slices package, which now provides a new function to concatenate multiple slices together. The biggest change, however, is for functions that shrink the size of a slice, such as the delete method. These functions will now zero the elements between the new length and the old length, whereas in previous versions of Go, these elements would still remain in memory and be accessible in the existing slice. For all other minor changes, I recommend checking out the documentation to see if there's anything that interests you. The last and perhaps biggest change that Go 1.22 brings is the enhanced routing features of the net/HTTP package. I covered the proposal for this in another video about 9 months ago, and with 1.22 it's finally here. This change enhances the HTTP servmux type, allowing us to easily specify routes with both HTTP methods and path parameters. Because of this change, it now makes the standard library viable when it comes to complex HTTP routing. This means you'll no longer need to use a third-party dependency such as GorillaMux, Qi, or Fiber. I, for one, am pretty happy for this change. Having the language be more resilient to third-party dependencies is always a good thing. Now, whenever I need a simple HTTP server, the standard library is more than enough. I'm interested to know your thoughts, however. Are you happy with the changes that 1.22 brings? Or perhaps there were some other features you'd have liked to seen? Either way, let me know in the comments down below. I want to give a big thank you to my newest channel member, the 54mm. Thank you for supporting the channel and allowing me to bring my content to hundreds of thousands of people around the world. A big thank you to everyone else for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.